homework for me to show? Please bring it up. That would be great. Just turn that over. This is funny. You'll like this one. Thank you. Look at you. Thank you. Wow. Okay, so this is from Linda Yachuk, and she sent me this overnight, but she didn't send me the inside of the card, which made me giggle. So some people just need a sympathetic pat in the head, and I love how she's done it. She's made it bounce a little bit. The weighting is good. Weighting isn't easy always, so that's really nice, and it's not clubby looking. So some people just need a sympathetic pat on the head with a hammer. I thought you would enjoy that. So that is lovely. And this is from our new member, Carolynn. Wow. I'm sorry, I got it all wrong. Corolla. Oh, you had a great deal of fun with that. That's lovely. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Winston Churchill. I love the attributions. That's lovely. Did you use, I can't tell, did you use watercolor or colored pencil?
It's a watercolor pencil, actually.
Ah.
I didn't add water this time.
Nice. Well, you've blended beautifully, so that's lovely. And look at that. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. How true. Well done. I like the way you've chosen what to color in. It's really nice. And a third one, luminous. Very nice. Well done. Well done. Thank you. Okay, so a little bit of an explanation of what we're doing today. I was worried that what I had chosen to do would be too short, so that's why you received 2 sets of exemplars. And so I would like to start with Fiesta capitals, but I'm calling today a favorite thing that I love to do is big and bold. And sort of weird kinds of things that well, weird in a nice way, kinds of things that are good for cards and for pieces, maybe not to do a whole piece with, but just as an accent word. So if we have time, and I'm hoping we do, the second set that I sent you was geometric letters, and there's three things in there, and I won't explain them right now, but they're kind of, where's the second one? The paper stick. So I thought, we'll see what we do. So my plan is that we we create a sheet that's big and bold. And I do have some watercolor paper, and those of you at home, hope that you can do the same. And we'll start off with the Fiesta capitals. And I want to just talk about the style. We'll just do a few of the letters and then do something on black. And so I did bring some Stonehenge, which is quite thick. So just a small piece that would go on our page just nicely. Okay, so let's look at Fiesta capitals. This is from Lynn Slavinsky's book. It doesn't really follow in the same way that the Fiesta spirals that we did last time, but has the same name for some reason, and it has that Mexican flavor, which I think is kind of cool. So we'll talk about the letters in a moment. The second page, she explains and does some examples, and the Fiesta at the bottom is from her book. I learned yesterday how to manipulate the machine. And on the third page are just some notes, and which are good. She likes to do a lot of sparkly things or that you can fill up the page with. And the next page are just a couple that I've done. I don't see doing a whole quote in this hand, but it is bright and cheerful, and doing the little sparkly things beyond it is kind of nice, and then adding it to another neutral hand that contrasts well. And I'm hoping that most of you are going to take the Art Nouveau. You can't live without Art Nouveau, in my opinion. And it's just the best alphabet. I use it mostly for, as you can see, for attribution. I use it on envelopes all the time. And it's just, and when I learned to do it, it was at West Coast when I first joined in 93. And someone did a program on it, and she was a pharmacist, and all her file folders had all done in Art Nouveau in her work. It's just useful. It's useful, and it's a good practice. Okay, end of commercial. And the last page is homework, and we can talk about that later. All right, so I've got my page. I hope you have your page, and we're going to look at Fiesta capitals. So have a look at this. I noticed three basic things in this page. She uses little spirals on certain letters. The A and the O, the G, the C, the S, and a few other letters. Quite a few letters, actually. And she also uses this little pinking shear thing on a number of the letters. And what was the third thing? Oh, and then that's basically kind of it. They're basically block letters. And on the third page, she just says a sketching hint. If you're sort of wondering how to put the letter down, you can do that old-fashioned thing where you draw the bones of the letter, and then you would erase the lines, and then add whatever you want to add. So what I thought we would do is start with the A, and I'm going to start with pencil, and I'm not going to trace it. I'm just going to do it freehand. So we'll just see what happens. And I thought we'd do the word ash. The A has the spiral, and so we don't need to do all the letters. We just need to do a few of them. So I'm going to do an A, and I'm going to do it very lightly. And you can make the lower part bounce a little bit. And then we can add the spiral. It's a weird looking letter in a way, but kind of festive. And then I'm going to erase the lines I don't need anymore. And there's the A. We'll talk about decoration in a moment. So that's that. And then let's do a curvy letter. And I thought, no, but I can go darker. I was going to do that later, but I'll do it now. Oh, I could zoom in, I suppose. Yeah, that's a thought.
That's what I meant.
Is that what you meant?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Okay. Because I thought I'd do the darkness later. Okay, the next letter, I thought we should do a rounded one. We've got the C and the G and the S. I thought we'd do the S because it's the double S, which can be a challenge to do. Like, where do you start, on the bottom or the top? Because they start on the bottom and then you end up on the top, which is always goofy with S. So I'm going to start on the top and leave enough room. And I want the bottom loop to be bigger. Now I'm on the outside, probably making this too big. And then I want to leave enough room that I can do a nice width. Maybe that's a little too close. Maybe we'll do that fixing up. So have fun trying your S out. And I've made it look really goofy because the top is way too big. Looks like a snake. But anyway, it is festive, so maybe I'll do another one. I'll have a weird page. So I'm going to make that a bit smaller. Oh, much more successful. Well, not much more successful, but anyway, I'm a consistent person, I guess. They've got 2 snakes. Okay, and then a straight letter. So let's do the H. We get ash, spelled with 1 S, not 2. Ash. Okay, no giggling, please. Ah. Okay, so get the block letter the way you want it to look. And I'm going to take out the left side. You could do left side or right side, whatever moves you. And I'm going to do the rick-rack or the pinking sheer look. And if you end on the, would you like me to move that a little bit? Okay. All right. And so I'm going to leave my goofy looking S's the way they were. And because I want a page, I'm going to redo the A just quickly. So that I have a word that makes sense. There we go. All right. Not beautifully written, but okay. So I'm going to take my black pen. This is waterproof. And I'm going to outline it because I'm happy. I'm working on white, so I don't need to worry about anything. Change the angle there. Do the cute little spiral. And once the ink is dry, and this strange looking S. If it were the first letter that you were doing, you could always turn your paper upside down and then it would work. And
your feet on your A are slanted and your feet on your H are.
no. If I had angled this, then, yeah, you can do whatever you like. When I were doing a word, I would probably angle all the letters, Judy, and so they, yeah. And you could have the A being flat. It's up to you. Okay. Make your H angled, but you'll have to think about all 4 ends. Do you just angle the bottom? Do you angle the top as well? Probably think about that. So I'll let that dry a little bit. I'm using the Vision pen, the Uniball, which is much darker than using a micron. Well, use a small micron. Okay, get rid of the pencil. So what do we do with it? So there's a couple of suggestions. One of her suggestions is to do a little, a window in some of the straight letters. So I was thinking on the H that I would do a little window. And then if you look at the second and third pages, you can do whatever you like to decorate. I was thinking with the S's, I'll probably do little circles, but I might put those in with a gel pen at the end. I was thinking that I could add some straight lines or some curvy lines. And what was the other thing I was thinking of? Basically it. The A needs a little bit, I added some little lines at the bottom there because I didn't like, I had one foot larger than the other, so that's why that was there. And when you add lines, that allows you to change color a little bit. So we can add with that. So does that make sense? It's pretty basic looking. So what do you do with it now? Well, you could go with your watercolors if you've used a waterproof pen. If you haven't, then you could always use watercolor pencils and just be careful, really close to the edge. You could use your gel pens. I dug out my Moonlight series, which you all probably own. Do you remember when we took a class with Nancy Hayes Hills? She was using these ones a lot. That's why I went and bought them. They're just fun. You can get them online. And if you go to that dangerous store in Victoria called Papery, they have so much stuff. Papery, it's on Fort Street. It's a very dangerous store. Bring a bank account. Because it's just so beautiful. And because they're in their new location and they have so much room, they have even more cards and more stationery and more pens and more paper. So Papery, paper with a Y. Yeah. You don't know that place? It's very dangerous. So it used to be right across from the Bay Center. Now it's a block over. So it's between Douglas and, you know where all those wonderful bakeries are? That's right in that little row there. So it's just between Douglas and what's the next street? Blanchard? Whatever the next street is. Papery. No. Yeah, it's on Fort Street. It is. It's next door to the Dutch bakery almost. It's a very dangerous place. They have a good website. And the woman that I always deal with has a really nice name. It's Carolynn. So she's lovely. And one of the ladies that works there on the weekend drives from Ladysmith. So interesting place. Okay, all right. So could you dig out, I was thinking I would do a pretty color. Not what I'm into today. So I'm just going to make the A quite ordinary. And I'm just going to quickly color it in for my page with my goofy looking S. Just want you to know that teachers somehow goof up a lot. We try to hide it, but we're human. So that's pretty normal looking. And I think I'll do this one over here. And so you do as a lot of you are so out of the box, just have fun with it. And choose some different colors. Another dangerous store, if you're ever in Vancouver, is Paper Yacht. And they have all these kinds of things too. Very dangerous. Well, that's pretty. Lorraine Douglas often, I'm not good at doing these kinds of things. Lorraine Douglas often advises to work in circles with colored pencils, because then you don't get any lines, especially with the watercolor. I think I'll add this over here. And I think we need some green. And I think we need some yellow. This is quite a lemony yellow. I'm going to leave the window blank. So pretty basic looking. It would be nice, let's see now. I think we'll do some gold stars. Could do stars, I'm just going to do dots on the S. My goofy looking snake. And I think the A needs a little bit of spicing up a bit. Maybe some stars. And sure, you've got all kinds of things. And now to pull it all together, what does she say? She says, add a festive touch by drawing confetti around or even on the letters. Remember that the confetti pieces are of different shapes depending on their distance from you and the angle you see them from. They are seldom found alone, so draw them in groups. You could shadow the letters if you liked. She's chosen right and under for her shadow. And have some fun with that. I'm going to look and see what I did. So I basically use dots and squiggles and spirals. And she did make a comment on the second page that if you wanted to block off your letters a little bit, like she did in Fiesta, you could do that, which is kind of fun too. I love the spiral above the eye. That one's all blocked off, so that's kind of neat. So have some fun. Decide how you're going to do a background. Sometimes with these pens, especially this dark one, I'll try to hold it really high so that I'm not pressed. I like to use a lot of pressure. So if you hold it really high, so it's almost awkward, you don't get the same, you don't get as heavy a look, which is kind of neat. So try to be random in how you're decorating your page. And this could probably be done with a color if you wanted, like one of your gel pens. I just rather partial to black. And another thing that works for this too is doing the number sign. I don't know why, but it just works. Just try to be random. And I'm a spiral girl, so I love it. So I'm not sure how festive that looks, but that gives you the idea. That isn't a word I would normally use, but I only wanted to do a few letters, so that seemed to work out the best. And if you had a word that really worked, then you could put a quote below. So that's kind of what I did with the yes quote. We've done that quote before when we were doing another alphabet, but I quite like it. And that works really well. And all of you taking Art Nouveau next week will be able to add that to your repertoire. So that'll be good. Okay. Do I need to give you a few more minutes? Because we have to move on. Okay. So on the on the note that Carolyn sent out to everybody. I asked that you think of a word that you really liked. And we're going to work on black. So if you need, I have some Stonehenge. I'm not sure how I have it, but I found in my watercolor paper drawer, I found a pad of Stonehenge. And I don't know if you know Stonehenge. Stonehenge printmaking papers are wonderful for calligraphers. They're not quite as expensive as the watercolor sheets, although they have grown in price. But I often use the white one for it because it takes the ink so well, and for calligraphy, the white and the cream. And this is the black, and it's a little heavier. If you were using watercolor on it, it would take it really nicely. So my thought is that we would do a word on here, but we would practice on the other side. And so if you want to use watercolors, you could, but it's nice to be able to figure out what works, what shows up on black. So let's see, I'm going to take my colored pencils and I'll go in a little bit. Yeah. Please help yourself. I have enough for everybody. So I'm going to just try out my colors and see what works. The jewel tones usually work. Don't think the red's as nice as the pink. It's always fascinating to try black on black. That's not working. Yellow kind of looks green, but it does work. The emerald green sort of works. Doesn't really pop or anything. That green's nicer. Oh, my favorite color, the peacock blue, the sky blue. I don't think I did the dark blue. And see, that fades a fair bit. This set of colors has a silver. Ooh, very nice. The brown, oh my goodness. You wouldn't think that brown would work. And this is purple. It's not showing up very much. So what do I have? I think brought my chalk pencil. I like the pink. So that's a possibility. The red's a bit of a question, maybe. Oh, I didn't do orange. Yeah, that's a possibility. I think I like the orange better than the red, so I'll put the red away. The peacock blue, definitely. The yellow, not too thrilled with it. The blue, I don't think so. The light green, yes. Well, maybe I like the yellow. And not the dark green. I kind of like that brown. It doesn't work with all the other colors, and definitely the silver. So those are some possibilities. So I'll set those aside. And now I'm going to dig out my jellies. So this is the purple. I don't think so. This is the metallic gold. No, it's not working very well. The green. These are the moonlight, and they're not showing up very nicely on the on there, which is too bad. There's a pink. And the orange. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled with any of these. I did throw in the gold. Okay, I threw in the black. This is the black glaze, but it's not showing up on the black too well. I don't know if you know the glaze ones. They do a white and a black, and the black on white paper is really lovely. And what's so nice about it is you can throw watercolor over it and it doesn't bleed, and it's lovely, and it raises itself a bit and it sparkles. So I'm not doing too well. I did bring some white. Oh, yay. So the white's a possibility for maybe some of the confetti on the black. Not doing too well with these colors. The blue might work, maybe not. This is a different white and it works as well. So that's a good thing. And disappointed with my golds. But
Do you know any way of reactivating these jelly markers? I've got some, they got lots of ink in them, but they just won't flow.
that's a very good question. And it's been discussed by many people many times. I've heard people say hot water. Some people say that you should have your jelly pens flat. Other people store them this way, and both have success. It just depends.
I think they're very temperamental.
They're very temperamental, and they stop working in the worst of times, which isn't very good.
I've read acetone nail polish remover.
Ah,
Okay, I heard for felt markers, hand sanitizer or alcohol.
I've heard that
Yeah,
too.
I tried it, but
Yeah. Now look what's happened with the moonlight. They've started to show up, and they weren't showing up when I did them. So, phew. So if you wanted to add for color on the back, I think you're okay with that. You just have to give it some time because they're all showing up now. So I'm not disappointed anymore. Okay, so question before I go on?
have you tried Fine Tech?
It'd be fabulous. Fine Tech is amazing. You're using the Fine Tech? Okay. Do you have a sample?
Disappointed.
Oh, did you do it on the
I've just
sheet?
been doing it down the side of my,
May I show them?
yeah,
Okay.
very small. I've just been going down my margin.
So Carolynn's been going down the margin with the Fine Tech and her paintbrush. Fine Tech is fabulous for that.
So that's a metallic paint from the dollar store, like $2, and it's actually really good.
Did you hear that?
It's like this. Yes, I got some when I first
Okay,
came
so
out.
dollar store metallic paints work very nicely. So that's really great on black. On black. Okay,
Maybe just show these. These are dollar store. They're like $2 or something.
these are from the dollar store, I've been told. Let me just go out on the, there we go. Interesting. And they work quite nicely, I'm told. So that's great. Okay, so now it's nice to have that just to practice to see what colors work. And as you can see with the colored pencil, they don't all work. I think with the Moonlight series, they'll all work, but you have to be patient with them, I've just discovered. Okay, so I've got my little pencil crayons over here, colored pencils. You can always tell we're Canadians because we say colored pencil crayons, and in the States, they look at you like you're crazy because they call them colored pencils all the time. But so we also probably show our age by using those words. But anyway, there you go. So, okay, I've done my practice test. I know I'm going to do that. Now, how am I going to put the letters on? You could just be brave, figure out what you're going to do. You could do a pencil dry run on your white paper, on your practice paper. I did bring, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. I didn't sharpen it very well. I brought my my white chalk pencil, and it will brush away. So
Will pencil erase off?
Not that well, but you can get rid of that eventually. And if you color right on top of that, it'll work out quite well. So I hope you have a word. You might not like my word. You might want to do your word. I'm going to do the word smile. So if you don't have anything, you could use a colored pencil. You could use a pencil. You could probably see it a little bit. Let's just practice that. Just as long as whatever you go on top, when you use your colored pencil or your gel pen or your paint, that you go right on top of the pencil, and I think you'll be okay. You can't erase well. If you can cover it up on the inside, you'll be okay. But that's right, and they're like the chalk, and there's so many choices with those too. So
I find they erase really well.
okay, well that's good. So the sewing pencils will work very nicely. Okay, the word that I want to use, I couldn't decide between smile or laugh, but I finally decided to go with smile. And yes, I'm going to try that S again and try not to do it upside down. So, do you have a word in your mind? I chose 5 letters because I don't want to be writing forever. I don't have a quote that I'm going to do with it. I just want to do a sample for my page. So I'm going to do the letters. You may do the same if you like. Okay, now the M, and I'm going to try to angle my letters a little bit. And so, Judy, you'll be happy to know that I'm going to angle my bottom of my M. Yeah, I just don't know about the H. Maybe the M is just more celebratory. And I want to do the rickrack. I'm doing it on the outside this time, on the right side, just because it's kind of fun. And the eyes don't have to be huge. They could be small. And I'm going to do a spiral, but I'm going to do a goofy looking spiral. Kind of. And then the L, I'd like to angle as well. And there's 2 L's on the exemplar page, and I like the one with the spiral at the end. Looks like a little shoe. Made it too skinny, I think, but that's okay. And got a lot of white space happening in here that I hadn't planned on, but probably fill that in with the confetti. And I think I'll leave out the rickrack. I'm overdoing it. Do other things. So once you've got your letters figured out, then you need to fill them in. And how will you fill them in? How will you do the outline of your letter? So I'm going to start with my colored pencils. And I think I'm just going to do a so that's that. That'll get decorated a bit more later. Oh, I'm already smudging. I think I'm going to go to one of the colors. Just want to see what happens with that. Probably could have gone straight on with the gel pens and the colored pencils. I think that I want to do something different. That's looking pretty weird. I think I like the colored pencil better. Not sure why. When I have a number of colored pencils that I'm using, I do the silly thing, I line them up because I don't always remember what I'm doing, and just have them in order, and then as I use them I keep the order so that nobody gets left out.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I could have gone straight in. Didn't really need the chalk. Oh, I need a window somewhere. I think I'll do the window on this one. Oh, very poorly done. I think I'll cover it up. Okay. Oh, very weird. And kind of strange looking. I'll do this in silver. Oh. So don't forget to do some confetti. Little marks here and there. Um, well, I think you get the idea. Just play. Kind of fun. A lot of you make cards. Maybe you can use these interesting letters for a person's name or a greeting or an encouragement. And a way to get all those few tools that you have in your studios used up. Oh, the L needs a little help, doesn't it? Do you think I can go another 20 minutes and do the other three? It's okay? All right. How's everybody doing? There's no conversation, so that's a good sign. A very good sign. And you at home, how are you doing? Okay, I hope?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, any thoughts? I hope you're having fun. A lot of you do interesting things, so I think you're going to be enjoying that. So then I was thinking that I'm not exactly happy with what I did, but it's a sample. That would be lovely. Any message yet? Yeah, my phone was vibrating as well. So then my thought was if you use double-sided tape, you could just put that there, just for your sample of this. And then at the bottom, I think we can kind of whip through the geometric letters because I'd love to introduce you to them. So I'll give you a few more minutes. When you start to look at me, I'll know we can move on.
Color for hours.
What?
It's a good color for hours.
I know. Yeah, I grew up in Vancouver, and one of my elementary schools was really close to Oak Ridge, to Woodwards. Some of you know what that store is. And we all had, in grade 6 and 7, we all had our favorite colored pencil crayon sets. Mine was Canadiana, and you could stop at Woodwards on the way home and go up to the stationery department and get number whatever it was, cardinal red, take it home. Interestingly enough, in my library at school, I noticed that the peacock blue was the color the kids used the most of. They were always the shortest colored pencils when I would do the sharpening. Interesting.
The nice thing about on the black paper is if you screw up, you can go and cover it with your marker.
You can do that. It's a very good thing to cover up, yeah. So I don't think I'm that thrilled with what I did, but it's a sample and lots of fun. Be fun to try it with the Fine Tech, I think. Okay, I'm just going to pack up that. I'll talk about the homework at the end. I think we'll forge ahead in a few minutes, and I'd really love to introduce you. They're not difficult. They're so much fun. And I'm going to use watercolor for one, black pen for the second, and colored pencil and black pen for the third. So just give you a couple more minutes and then we'll carry on. Are you confused yet? I'm working on it. It would be interesting to be able to do something like this on the black and then decide how you would add a quote. Would you use your metallics, the fine text, and a pointed pen maybe, or even a B nib, a B6 or something, a B5? Yeah. Judy, you use black a lot, not always. I don't use black very much, black paper. So it
really changes colour. So
yeah.
on my swatch, my metallic paints, how they look on white and how they look on black. It's entirely different.
I don't know if you heard that online. Judy on her swatches, she does, for the metallic paints, she does the on white, and then she also does it on black. Thank you. She's going to show it to us. So these are her metallic paints on the white. Paul Rubens metallic watercolors. So that's on the white color. Let me just, there you can see that better. And now look at it on same colors exactly on the black. So that's where trying them out on black paper really helps, because you just don't know what's going to work. With colored pencils, I always tend to the jewel tones, but you never know unless you try. Thanks, Judy, for that. Okay. Yes, I do know about the black erasers. Thank you for that. And I think she carries them at iron oxide. Yeah, and Opus carries them as well. All right, I'm going to forge ahead. You might not be ready for me to forge ahead, but I'm going to forge ahead because I'm watching the clock and I want to leave time for our break and then for Galleria. So When I do big and bold, I love doing big and bold. And there's so many different ones that really work for this. So the next three are three that I like to do. I like doing graffiti letters, and the Wes Wilson letters are really fun with this. And there's a few others that, a Neuland would be a perfect big and bold. I hope the workshop people will hear that comment. Neuland, please. Okay. So geometric letters. So this little exemplar, and I should have documented this more carefully and I didn't. So Betty will like this information. This comes from Diana Haynes, probably about 25 to 30 years ago. When she would go to visit her parents, her aging parents in England, she would always try to do a calligraphy workshop somewhere. And so this was at West Dean. The teacher was Martin Wenham, and it was in '89, so that's a few years ago. And she brought back this little simple geometric letters. And I like doing this one with watercolor. They're pretty big. You can make them smaller if you want. I've done, for that little quote, I love Rumi quotes, I've just done it really large. But I thought I would do the word big because I want big and bold on my sheet. So I'm going to take my pencil, I'm just going to be brave. And these are really basic letters. And I will move it down so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So the B is just 2 half circles. The bottom one bigger. We don't need to go through the whole alphabet. I mean, you can do it yourself. I is I. I'm always grateful for the I in every alphabet because it's just I. And the G I quite enjoy. I'm going to try to angle that a little bit to match the B. So basically it's a half circle with a cutout. I'm going to make that a little bigger, I think. Try to do it lighter. That would look better, yeah. Come down part way, do the cutout. I think it could be bigger too. So there's big. Kind of blocky looking. And got my messy, forgot to get it activated. Brought one of my new brushes from Iron. This is the Catalyst one. And I'm just going to choose a couple colors. Please, I'm not a watercolor person. All you watercolor people, you just do it right. I'll just do what I do. I hope for the best. And I brought Kleenex because Caroline says you should use Kleenex over paper towel. She says it's softer.
It's very soft, and paper towel often has a design in it which will transfer to your watercolor, and you'll get it. If you want a design, the dots on paper towel, that's fine. Paper towel's good for mopping up when you spin it.
You never do that. Okay, so I just want to color it in. I'm not shading it too well, but that's okay. Jeannie's probably watching and shaking her head, but that's okay. All right, and seem to be into orange today. A little too heavy. I just like how the watercolor looks on these shapes. Just think it's kind of neat. And those of you that can shade, please shade, because that makes it look nicer. And I think a nice purple will be a good way to end it. Try to make it a bit less. Oh, I need more than that. So these aren't rocket science, these little alphabets, but they're kind of nice to have in your arsenal. Sometimes you get tired of using the same old and you say, what else could I do? And you look at your stuff and say, oh, I'll try that. Would I do a whole alphabet with this? I think it's nice with one word that's large, perhaps, or larger. And then add a complementary, contrasting alphabet. So that's all I was going to do with that alphabet. They're pretty big, not a lot of shapes, so it's really neat. I like the S because the way it's been divided up, I think that's kind of cool. There's two P's. The Z's interesting, the N and the Z. I love the way they've done that. So that's just a really nice alphabet. And I should have put Diana's name on it, and I didn't. I'll make sure I do that on my exemplar. Betty, I hope you're taking note of that. I don't know if you knew about these letters, but I thought you'd enjoy that story. Okay, so the next one, I'm forging ahead. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. We have to have our break and then our Galleria. This next one is from Lynn Slavinsky, and it's also geometric, very similar to the last one, but more pieces. And I love doing this one. You could do it so many different ways. You could add color to it very easily. You could add watercolor to it. You could add colored pencil. You could do it with gel pens, whatever. I kind of just like doing this one in, well, I'm going to do the word and in this, and then do some of the Zentangly, scribbly stuff with it. So I'm going to be brave. Well, maybe I won't be brave. Where's my pencil? Okay. So I'm going to do the word and the A just tends to be a triangle, just like the last one. I'm going to leave a bit of space. Don't want it as big as the big. And the N is very similar, actually. Interesting. I love the B. Look at that B. And the E, just little curiosities. And the shapes at the top are the ones that are used. So there's a lot more shapes. The J is interesting. And the Z's fun. And the S, like a bird. Okay, so let's do the N. So I'm just doing it lightly. And I'm keeping it kind of straight, I guess. Seems like. and the D. So I'm going to use my Uniball, which is quite dark, and go over that. If I were brave, I would have gone straight into it, but sometimes having your pencil handy is good. I'm going to make that D a bit bigger, I think. More Romanish looking. Hopefully that's dried. I can just get rid of some of the pencil. And I'm just going to fill it in with things that I like to do. I hope you'll do the same. So my favorites. Well, I love spirals. Like to do them whenever I can. The other thing I love to do are round dots. And then filling in some of them. Trying to be at random, filling in some of the blank space, perhaps. That helps too. The other one I like is little semicircles. That's kind of my thing. But you probably have your favorites too. I hear dots happening. That's cool. And what's another one I like? Well, I really like, oh, I'm not sure what they're called. Squares of lines. So that's just a sample of that. I love how she's done her little spirally flourishing. That's kind of neat.
I can't see the bottom end. Is it possible to?
Sure. How's that? I forget, so thank you for that. Okay, so that's bits and pieces. So that's just more of an embellishment on the first one. Fairly similar. The next one is kind of weird, but I kind of like it. And it's the geometry one. So basically it's just using the large letter Here, I'll go out again. I'm forging ahead again. So basically, her alphabet's here. So basically, she's just done basic letters, capitals, and then added the square, circle, and triangle. And I have to tell you, I'll confess that I do often cheat. Well, cheat. I assist myself using, those templates that you can get that architects like to use. I have tons of them, circles and triangles and ovals and pipe fitting things and drops, and I just love them, and they come really helpful, especially for circles. So I often use the small ones, but today, just going to go with the flow. So basically, the word I want to do is bold. So I'll do a B. I'll try to do a nice round O, and an L is easy, and a D. And then, just before I go on, she's used her Zentangle stuff to decorate as well. She's gone a little crazy on super. And I like using colored pencil on this one. So anyway, I'm going to do bold. I'm going to be bold. It's a good thing to do. So big and bold. And I'm going to do it in pencil first. And let's see if I can. You've got an O. You've got round letters. They're hard to bounce, but we'll try. So there's the B. And this one needs a bit of room because you're adding stuff around it. I think I'm going to do a smaller O. It's probably a bit too close together. There we go. And we'll do an L and a D. So just your bit, however you want to do your letter. You could do it Art Nouveau style if you wanted, which would only show up in the B and the D. But we'll just go with this. And yes, I sometimes get out my ruler for this one, but today I didn't. Okay, so now I'm going to just play rectangle, squares, circles, and triangles, and try to be random if I can. And you just go around. Don't overthink it. It's kind of fun. And your shapes don't have to always be the same size. They can be different. Your triangles can be sideways. So not very, well, a little crazy. So I'm just going to use, let's see, I've got these pencil crayons sitting out. I tend to choose 4 or 5 and sort of look and see what I've got. I don't think I want that. No, I think I need that. So I think that's what I'll do. And I know this is probably silly, but I kind of go in order. So I start with 1, and every 5th one I'll do that color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, and I might get two right beside each other in the same color. Decide where I want to do it in the next one. 1, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. That worked out. So let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to cheat a little bit. And all of a sudden it's starting to look a little interesting. Let's go with this one. Okay. Light blue. No, don't want to do light blue. Pink next. And I think the light blue now. And not rocket science, but big and bold. Kind of simplistic, kind of fun for a child, I think. And for all those who are child at heart. So I just wanted you to have a sample of something. And there's others that we could easily add to this collection, which is kind of fun, but for now, I've got 2 samples on the homework sheet to fill up space. So I use the word life. And so that's not part of the quote, it's just from the quote. And those are all straight letters, which is kind of interesting. So it's nice to make them kind of fly around a bit. And then with the second set of geometrics, there's that one. And that one is part of the quote. So I thought, I know you would love to do homework. Well, maybe you don't, but anyway, should you wish to do some, you could choose just an expressive word that you love and letter it carefully using, colorfully, not carefully, colorfully using Fiesta capitals. And you could do it on white or black, whatever you like. Or if you have a favorite quote in a hand that you enjoy, and then choose one of the words and add it to the presentation. So it can be from the quote. It seems that the second and third one seem to be the same. I'm not sure what I was thinking. Oh, one was Fiesta capitals and the other was geometric. That's what it was. Yeah, okay. And then you have your own ideas. So I'll let you do your own thing and add. So that would be great. And if you'd like to bring them next week before we have, or send them to Carolynn, she can put them under the camera. So I'm sorry I took longer than I'd planned.
Really good.
Okay.
There was lots of time to get.
So I guess we have a wee bit of a break, drink coffee fast, and we'll get on with the Galleria.
Let's just take a 10-minute break.